Now to growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S. Here's what we know. A Washington state resident fell ill after returning from Wuhan, China, where the outbreak began. Officials now say more than 400 people have been sickened and 9 people have died.
The virus is now rapidly reaching out beyond its epicenter of mainland China, where it's already infected some 77,000 people.
The world must prepare for a potential coronavirus pandemic. That's the warning from the head of the World Health Organization. Over the past few hours, fresh cases have been confirmed in countries around the globe.
This just into our newsroom, the World Health Organization has declared the coronavirus a pandemic with 118,000 cases across 114 countries and 4,200 deaths worldwide. We'll have the latest online.
Everyone was confused at the beginning. People said, wear masks, don't wear masks. Some people thought it was just the flu. As time went on, you started to learn more. But at first, everyone was just confused what it was.
The tragedy of it all is that I heard it on CNN 10 in my history class, and it was one of those things that was happening overseas. Like in China, that's what it was. It was COVID. China was dealing with this virus. And we were like, oh man, that's tough. But we didn't really think of it as an issue for us.
Initially, once COVID hit, I thought that we would be out for at most 2 weeks. But of course, people not quarantining, realistically, I was thinking it probably would have been a month, but the optimist in me was saying maybe it would be 2 weeks.
I think it's important that people who believe that we can make change, that we have to kind of all of the CDC guidelines and everything, these were creditable sources, like Dr. Fauci. There were medical professionals that were giving us the heads up.
I felt that it was an attempt to control a virus that's spread by droplets and to keep more Americans alive and to keep more Americans out of hospitals, off of the ventilator, and out of the morgue.
In Los Angeles, the nation's second largest school district will now close for 2 weeks starting Monday. Across the country, at least 21 million kids now home from school.
The school, everything's been kind of hit or miss, I guess, because they've given us, the assignments are fine. I feel like while I'm not having the teacher-student interaction that I would normally get, they still give us enough information to complete our assignments. The main issue with the transition has been communication, definitely. There's a lot of things, especially being a senior, that I need to know about, like, graduation and college, and, you kind of have to have that connection with guidance, and I don't really have that. There's a lot of things that I find out about weeks after. But education-wise, it's been okay.
We usually can make the band the connection point between us, between me and them, and learning. But there's almost no connection. I get to see their face, and I get to see, or get to hear them say yes, but there's no groupness, there's no, what do you call it, no cohesion, there's no ensemble. That's the best word, isn't it? In music, there's no ensemble, and you have to have ensemble, you can't have band, it just doesn't work.
The computer screen is not a substitute for human interaction, and I do think initially this generation was completely okay with the computer screen, but as the days and the weeks wore on, we started to see that what they liked at one time, they may not possibly have continued to enjoy. It seemed great at first, but there is no substitute for talking to another human.
And so now what happens is we have this attack on the educational system, right? Where you think like, okay, well, impersonal classes aren't relevant. I can be online and get the same college experience as you did in person. No, you can't. You just can't like replace that. So just like many students, many instructors, many administrators, I was lost in translation as well.
I believe that their mental illness has been greatly affected by COVID because high schoolers are very social creatures. You know, they're excited they're finally at the high school, especially our seniors. It's their senior year. And you can see even in the in-person, their enthusiasm of being at school has went down. Their homework effort, you know, like turning stuff in is going down.
That's a rabbit hole. So even prior to COVID, I had fairly bad mental health. I deal with depression, I deal with anxiety. COVID has only strengthened that. Thanks to COVID, I went from being hospitalized not at all to being hospitalized 1, 2. Is it bad that I have to count? Like, I've been hospitalized at least 3 times due to depression. I've since then been put on antidepressants. And a lot of it is due to the isolation. Sure, we've got Zoom. I was just getting done saying the fact that a good part of COVID is that we now realize how nice it is to have an online option. That being said, it's not the same as being able to go up to your friends, give them a high five, go get lunch, and just hang out for the afternoon.
We have services here at the high school. We have a social worker and guidance counselors. So if there's something really serious that I see that I'm like, they need someone to talk to, I will call the social worker in to kind of just fill them out and make sure that they get some services that they might need.
How have my children dealt with COVID, considering one of them's here? I would say that they've done better than what I would expect. My daughter is more of a socialite, so I was more worried that she would probably maybe have some depression. But I would like to think our faith has kept us very strong, and that's one of the things that I hold on to. And that's been something that's probably helped them tremendously.
Well, like everyone says, you're living through history, which I'm sick of hearing, by the way. It makes me angry. I'm sick of it. I think it'll make me appreciate things a lot more once it's all kind of died down. It's definitely made me more politically aware. But I do roller skate now. I like making bracelets and playing with little shrink-eating paper things. I love doing that. Oh, and I like my siblings more, which is weird. I spend a lot more time with them. I feel like I've somewhat bonded with them, and we're a little bit closer now. Somewhat.
So I'm hopeful for the future, and I'm hopeful for the future mostly for our young people. I want them to be able to, be tough from what they're going through, but I want them to learn from it and be strengthened by it and hopefully become better people from it.
I think that what we have to do is continue to educate students with the resources that they have, and to educate parents, and to continue to encourage parents to talk to their students. And yes, they may be online, and yes, their interactions with their peers may be a bit limited, but there are things that they can do safely. and still protect themselves from COVID, while also educating parents on warning signs, triggers, and things that as a parent they need to be aware of. And then once they have assessed those things in their child, who they can call and where they can get help.
Some people can transition to being entirely online perfectly fine. Others cannot. Sure, maybe being remote for you works. Being hybrid for me may work better, but ultimately what works for me is going to be different from you, and likewise for views. I don't care about your political beliefs. I don't care about your religious beliefs. Just before you consider saying something about COVID or any topic in general, please consider looking at the other person's perspective.
I'm sad that we have to wear face masks. I wish 2020 would disappear because of COVID, because now I wanted to hug my friends. I want 2020 to disappear now.
If you could tell COVID anything, what would you tell it?
I would tell it, no, go away, go away. I would tell it to go away.